and welcome to the 2026 IPF World Powerlifting Championships here in Druskininkai, Lithuania. I am Amelia Potter, joined this morning by Evie Corrigan. Evie, a multiple-time world champion, ref, got many accolades to her name on and off the platform. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Amelia.
This morning we have the 120C and B group, and the 120B group in particular worth keeping your eye on. The A group was so competitive, only 8 lifters could make it through to that A flight, meaning a lot of the big names and strong contenders have fallen down to the B group. Namely, we have Mo Suleiman from Great Britain, Jonah Vindeek from Germany, and Mohammed Sahad from Algeria. They're going to post some big totals, and it's worth keeping an eye on them. They won't have the advantage of being able to see what everybody else is doing in the A flight, but they can do their best to post bigger total as they can and see how they can threaten from the B group. We will begin with the squat event, and kicking us off, representing South Africa, we have Simon Raw, opening with 245 kilos. Simon opening 10 kilos below his best squat here.
Yeah, just one red light there in the center for depth.
Have a look at that again in the replay. Usually if the side referees are happy with depth, it is okay. And that looks just in there to me. Mark Stell representing Ireland, opening with 250 kilos. Mark weighed in at a svelte 107.4 over the 120 group.
Three white lights, it's a good lift. Light body weight doesn't seem to be affecting him.
Thomas Thoma from Switzerland, opening on 250 kilos. Lovely deep opener there. And a good lift, 3 white lights. Yeah, Rubeni Kakushvili for Georgia, opening with 260 kilos.
Squatting with a high bar there. Different bar position that most powerlifters like, higher on the shoulders. Works for him though.
Helgi Sigurdsson from Iceland, 280 kilos. This weight will remain on the bar for the following 2 lifters. Only 24 years old, so fresh out of the juniors this year. First year as an open lifter.
Very nice looking opener there.
3 white lights. Yeah, not where we're looking for any sort of drama with these opening attempts. Get a squat in on the board and add a weight light enough that if there is any drama, you can retake it should you need to. Christian Cheshko from Hungary, 280 kilos. Has a best squat of 300, so hopefully relatively conservative opener here. A little bit of work, but 2-1 gets it on a good lift. The blue from the center referee there, Evie.
It could potentially be a lockout issue or downward movement, but I don't see any downward movement there, so perhaps the ref was not happy with lockout at the start of the lift, the knees maybe.
Jury happy enough with it, so it will remain a good lift. 280 kilos for Joseph Penko from Ireland.
Sometimes those 2-1 decisions, 1 red light, is sort of just a good indicator to the coach and the lifter that there's something they might need to clean up on the next attempt, and it's just the nudge that they need.
Yeah, keep one eye out for that infraction for sure. It's only going to become a little bit more obvious as the weight gets heavier. Can't imagine anything really wrong with that though.
And the referees agree with you, Amelia.
Maurice Yusups from Latvia, 305 kilos. Another more high bar position here. Becomes a little bit more popular in those heavier weight classes.
Very upright squatter.
Yeah, very, very efficient with his energy when he squats. Tends to be the style of squat that is very quick until it isn't. The brakes come on pretty fast.
It's not dissimilar to a like an Olympic weightlifting style squat.
Yeah, definite similarities there. Ayuto Motoki from Japan, 310 kilos.
The heaviest opener of this round.
Very tidy. Easy opening attempt. That's really what you want to see. 3 white lights.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see how much they jump from that.
Again, quite an upright squatter, so worth keeping that in mind. And we head through to the second round of squats, all 9 lifters getting their squat in on the board as we move through to the second round. Raw, South Africa, jumping to 257.5 kilos. Already here looking for a 2.5 kilo personal best.
Unfortunately, 2 reds there from the side and centre referee for depth. You did get that centre red on the last attempt for depth.
Thomas Thoma from Switzerland, 262.5 kilos, 12.5 kilo jump here. 12.5 kilos of his best squat. A lot of these bests that we see though are done nationally, maybe even some regionally, so doing it on the international platform or even getting near that is completely different kettle of fish. Very deep squat.
Yeah, he moves that nicely. 3 white lights as well. Perhaps pacing for a matched PB.
Yeah, perhaps. It's hard to say when he squats so deep, you know, it's definitely takes up a little bit more energy. I'd be interested to see what kind of grind he has in his squat. 265 kilos from Mark Stell from Ireland, a 15 kilo jump.
Yeah, it is very common, particularly at this level, to see lifters towing right up against the line of what the rules allow, to eke out every advantage they can get.
Ooh, unfortunately, 3 reds cannot be contested there for depth. We'll have a look at that again in the replay and tell me your thoughts here. As a lifter and referee yourself.
Yeah, it's I'd say right on the line, you know, it's like not quite below parallel, which is what we're looking for, is the hip going below the top of the knee.
Rubeni Karakushvili, 270 kilos.
M1 lifter competing here in the open.
And 2-1, a good lift. Just a yellow from the center referee there. If we can have a look at that again in the replay, I think just might have jumped one of those commands, which will be hard to catch here.
And the jury has caught that as well and overruled the lift. So it must have been a skipped command.
Yeah, I believe the rack command was just skipped there. So easy enough fix there on his third.
Yeah, it just changes your attempt selection a little bit, because you wouldn't want to miss out on those kilos by making a bigger jump and potentially missing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Joseph Penko, Ireland, 295 kilos. 15 kilo jump, 10 off his personal best.
Smooth looking second there.
Yeah, still lovely indeed. Gets it a good lift, and by the facial expression he made at the top of the squat, I think if he was so about it, perhaps going for the middle expected jump. Christian Chesko for Hungary, 297.5. Just got that blue from the center referee on his opening attempt. So let's see if he can't clean that up a little bit here in his second to get those 3 white lights. Although jury didn't touch it last time, so be good enough this time too. A lot tougher though.
Interesting, getting that blue from the side referee this time.
Yeah, let's look at the replay. This is the side he gets the white light from. Perhaps just soft knees at that lockout position. Hard to say.
No interest from the jury in that one.
So keeps the blue from a different referee, but manages again to let it pass. Helgi Sigurdsson, 302.5, a 22.5 kilo jump. Those slightly bigger jumps becoming a little more common in these heavier weight classes.
Moves comfortably. We were discussing before the lifting started that sometimes as we move into these heavier weight classes, the strategy is to open quite a bit lighter, take a big jump, see what's there, and then take a smaller jump, sort of almost like a last warm-up and 2 heavy attempts, because it's really taxing for these heavier lifters to come out and squat, say, over 300 multiple times.
Marius Zups from Latvia, 320 kilos. Yeah, there's a lot of strategy that goes into these attempt selections, not just the planned ones, but also being able to adjust on the day to how you're feeling and what the competition is giving you. Yeah, and that's that slowdown we spoke about on his opener. Very quick down and uses momentum from that, but that momentum has to run out at some point.
Yeah, utilizes that bounce in the hole, but if you don't get like quite far enough up with that, it can be really hard to push out to lock out.
And he was so close to getting past that point, you know, of straightening up. Ayuto Motoki to close out the second round of squats in the C group, 330, a 20 kilo jump from his opener, and probably the easiest opener of the flight.
Yeah, this was about what I expected, because it did move quite smoothly, and I imagine this will be one big jump and probably another smaller one after this.
Yeah, already this would be a 5 kilo personal best, so anything above this would just further that.
Wow.
And that is a good lift, and I could see another 10 to 12 going on that, for sure.
Yeah, that still moved really comfortably.
Again, a very upright squatter, not quite as much as we've seen from the Latvian lifter, so perhaps not much of a grind in it, but still super hard to tell because how comfortable that was. And we head through to the third and final round of squats. 4 of these 9 lifters didn't get their second attempt in, so be interesting to see how they adjust and if they're able to as we move through to the third and final round of squats. Simon Raw, one of those 4 lifters, looking to retake 257.5 after getting called on depth from 2 of the referees. Kept the weight the same, seems like the sensible option, especially with that extra depth, makes it that much harder.
Unfortunately, it was just a bit much today. The depth did look better there, but can't push through. Thankfully, he is on the board.
Yeah, like we said, squatting that little bit deeper really does have physically a big difference. Mark Stell, 265 kilos, looking to retake the same weight. Again, got called for death. All three referees on his second, so needs to be more convincing this time round. They're aware of the calls they gave last time. Definitely deeper.
Yeah, that looks way better. Very nice. It's unfortunate to leave kilos out there, but also, as we said, you risk losing more kilos if you go up on a missed second and then also miss that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Bittersweet for sure. Thomas Thoma from Switzerland, 270 kilos. 7.5 kilo jump here. Seems sensible, especially with how deep Thomas squats. A huge fight, and I don't think another even gram would have gone up.
Yeah, he pushes through there. There was a little sticking point, so that blue from the side is perhaps for downward movement.
I think I saw the bar pause, but I don't think I saw a dip.
And see what the jury thinks.
They seem happy enough with it.
It's always so gutting to see an overturn on a lift like that where they really gave it their all.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of those as championships, and you really do feel for the lifters because you know that they emptied the tank. The grind of a lifetime. Rubeni Karkusashvili for Georgia didn't get his second attempt, looking to jump 10 kilos here and retake it. The only lifter who didn't make his second attempt choosing to go up.
This was that missed rack command, so they're confident he can squat the weight and also not miss the command this time.
Ooh, but this time gets called for depth from the side referees, so we'll have a look at that in the replay, and that's the risk you run, like you said, Evie, about going up anyway and potentially missing kilos.
It looks right on the line there. I don't know if I would be overturning that if I was a jury member.
Yeah, it has to be pretty obvious in either way for a jury member to want to get involved.
Exactly, it should be a blatant mistake in refereeing. It's not just a difference of opinion.
Christian Chesko for Hungary, 305 kilos, 7.5 kilo jump for a 5 kilo personal best, and picked up a blue on his first and second from different referees. And hopefully can avoid an extra one here in his third. Another fantastic fight from the Hungarian lifter, and this time 3 white lights.
Very good. He's rewarded for that squat grind and also for cleaning up the lift, so great work.
Four squats remaining in this C flight before we head through to the B group. Joseph Penko from Ireland, 305 to match his personal best. 10 kilo jump from his second. Great fireman attempt from Penko.
Really good execution there. Some very solid attempt selection from the Irish coaching team this week.
Helgi Sigurdsson representing Iceland, 312.5, a 10 kilo jump. So it'd be a 5 kilo personal best. perfect execution and a perfect call from Team Iceland.
Yep, that was exactly the right number. He's relieved. A good example of that big jump between first and second, 22.5 kilos, and then that smaller 10 kilo jump from second to third.
320 kilos for Maurice Zups from Latvia. Missed that second on what seemed like strength. Of course, he uses a lot of momentum with that upright position, as we were saying before. So let's see if he can't break through that slow down. He got very close to it in a second.
Might just be a timing thing. No, unfortunately not. Just too heavy today.
And we have one final squat left before we head through to the B group. Ayuta Matoki, 350 kilos, a big final squat going for a 20 kilo jump. And to be honest, the second was extremely smooth. I didn't think they were going to go as large as 20 kilos, but it is promising that they feel that confident.
Yeah, 2 big jumps, 20 kilos each time. Landing on really a monster third here.
This would also be a 20 kilo squat PB. Wow. That is so impressive.
Great choice from the Japanese team there.
Yeah, paced him really well, opened with a really comfortable weight, made sure the second didn't take up really much energy as well, and only hit that top end around about once. And he leads the C group as we head into the B group. Medals, of course, to jump around all the way until tonight, where we have the A group 120s. As you can see, a big range of opening attempts, the biggest belonging to Mohammed Sahad, 360, the world record standing at 386. We already had a squat world record in the B group yesterday. Can it happen again today? Daniel Pola from Switzerland, 290 kilos. As we were saying before, a lot of heavy hitters in this B group.
Very speedy opener there. 3 white lights.
Loritz Enemark Ju from Denmark, 295 kilos.
Also fresh out of the juniors, only 24 years old.
Another very smooth looking opener.
Just 1 red on the side there for depth.
We'll have a look at that again in the replay. From the angle I saw it, it looked okay, but there's very different angles there on the platform. I think you should be okay with that.
Yeah, I'd be happy with that.
Heath Graham, another lifter fresh out of the juniors, 295 kilos. Very comfortable looking opener. Does get called for depth in center and far side referee. We'll be able to see the angle he gets called for depth on in the replay. I'd say that is on the line to me, but I would say more in the positive way than anything else, but not so much so that the jury are looking to get involved.
Exactly. It's one of those calls where it's right on the line and it can kind of go either way. And so the jury will not overrule something that is borderline. Again, it needs to be a blatant error.
Jonah Weindijk from Germany, 322.5 kilos. One of those big names that fell down to the B group because of a tight class. Very comfortable opener. 3 white lights, and definitely could push into that top 8. 2 names here could. Has a huge bench press on him. I think here it says he's opening with 245 kilos bench press. World record 265.5. Not a photo of, but next up we have Abdul Suleiman, Great Britain, 330 kilos, and I think a surprise that we see Mo here in the B group for sure. Has to do what he can to have his best day possible. He's competed at Sheffield before. Previously has competed as a 105. But certainly has filled out the 120s. Still a little bit of wiggle room, weighing in at 118.2. And it moves.
Smooth opener.
Yeah, 3 white lights, a good lift.
I know Team GB were working hard to keep him at weight since he's arrived here, getting him to eat enough food to actually weigh in at a reasonable weight.
Bo Sakanovsky, representing Israel, 330 kilos.
He's being sent off the platform here by the referees, as you're not allowed to adjust your wrist wraps on the platform. It needs to be done before you walk out. The only thing that you can adjust on the platform is your belt. So that does cost him some time.
Two to one, a good lift. Just a depth call from that right side referee. Weight didn't seem to be an issue whatsoever. Let's see how the depth looks here.
Hard to say.
Jury seem happy enough with it. Like you said, it has to be pretty obvious in one way or another for it to be overturned by the jury. 330 for Jesper Vogilus from Denmark. Just 10 kilos off his best. Lights, a good opening attempt.
Really nice looking squat.
And our final opening attempt. Again, another lifter that's fallen down from the A group here. Mohamed Sahad from Algeria, 360 kilos. As I mentioned earlier, the world squat record is 386.
Wow, long-standing record there. 2017, Dennis Cornelius.
Very interesting to see how this moves and whether that's a reasonable jump. His personal best is 385, just 1 kilo below the world record. And 2 to 1, a good lift. A really difficult squat to judge in terms of the kind of jumps they're looking to make.
Yeah, you know, he might just be one of those lifters that has a very slow and controlled squat and can keep going for days. We'll just have to wait and see.
Did get a blue from the side referee, and unfortunately the jury has overruled it, but they've overruled it for depth, which I'm not sure about that, Evie.
Unsure if they've just pushed the wrong button there and they meant to overrule it for the lockout.
Either way, unfortunately, does not get that opening attempt for Sahad.
We'll see if that changes their attempt selection here, their strategy towards that record.
Heath Graham also looking to get his first squat back on the board here in his second attempt.
That looked deeper to me. Nice.
Yeah, on the board now, but again, changes the strategy somewhat, I imagine, heading into that third and final squat.
Yeah, he is being handled by Jason Clark today, who's also my coach, and I can tell you he tends to play things pretty conservative, and Heath has come a really long way. He's from the down deep south of New Zealand, so wouldn't want to, you know, miss a whole bunch of attempts.
Daniel Pola from Switzerland, 307.5 kilos. Yeah, another thing to be considered is a lot of these athletes have traveled various distances, and when they're not all competing for individual or overall medals, they're probably coming in with personal goals that they want to hit on the international platform.
Smooth looking second there. Yeah, it is something that has to be balanced, the athlete's personal goals versus obviously the team's placing, the points that you get for each team member, and also that that athlete is representing your team as well. So we want them to do well, we want them to reflect well on the whole nation's lifting.
Lawrence Denmark jumping to 315. Got a depth call on his opening attempt, but jury were happy enough with it. Let's see if we can clean it up a little bit here. So if it is the case, the jury still can't get involved.
Sometimes it's that opening attempt nerves.
It definitely looked good from this angle.
3 white lights. You just got to get that first squat in and then you can breathe.
Jonah Vindy taking a 20 kilo jump here to 342.5.
Very comfortable squat, but just 1 red from the side for depth.
Have a look at that again in the replay. His best squat, 347.5. He hit that at the European Championships in Malta this year.
Again, I would say that one it's very close, it's very on the line. Sometimes it can go either way. That's why we have 3 referees and a jury.
Yes, for Vogius from Denmark, 345 kilos. be a 5 kilo personal best should he make it here in his second attempt. Which you'd like to think would be the case. You know, second attempts should still leave room for one final attempt.
Three white lights and a good lift. Yeah, the attempt strategies can differ a lot between nations. Sometimes the approach is to match a PB on the second and then really just see if there's anything else left in the tank for the third.
So Sekhanovsky for Israel, 347.5 kilos.
Comes out with his wrist wraps done up this time, so he's learnt from the first round.
The best squat of 365. So 17.5 kilo jump. This lands him 17.5 off that best squat.
Being asked to replace the bar there, I think they're not happy with how upright he is. So the bar can't be placed lower than the rear delt.
And it's tough to set up with that much weight on your back with that much time. But with 2 seconds, get the squat command. And it doesn't seem to phase him too much.
Unfortunately, just cuts it a little high. As you say, Amelia, it's really stressful to be in that situation. Asked to replace the bar, have to walk it out again, change the placement, and it affected him a bit here.
Abdulmajid Suleiman, Great Britain, taking a 30 kilo jump here to 360. His best squat, 362.5, so already on his second attempt, very, very close to it. And that certainly would push the top 8 if he has a day like that. Certainly looking to make a statement, saying, I do not belong in the B group. And it doesn't look like he does.
Just one red there from the side. Definitely like strength, no issue.
Catch that again in the replay. This is the side he gets that depth pull from.
It's very hard to see with his elbows there.
Oh, but the jury's overruled that to a no lift. Which again, like you said, it was very hard to see, so it seems maybe a little bit unfair from the jury side of things, but
they are very experienced, you know, perhaps they are able to tell without seeing that hip, the top of the hip exactly.
We now have Mohammed Sahad looking to jump 15 kilos anyway. I imagine looking to pace himself for that world record, but didn't get that opening attempt in, and it wasn't the quickest in the world, so
it's a bit of a risky strategy.
It is a risky strategy. Let's see if that pays off for him. Wow, and that is a huge fight, and I've got to say, it looks like the top end for today, and 2-1, it is a good lift.
So another blue there. I would believe for lockout, either not standing erect at the start of the lift or at the end.
And you've got to hope he has it, because I can't say I think he has another squat at that weight in him today.
No, as we said before, you know, for these lifters doing multiple attempts at,
no,
unfortunately has been overruled.
And that is really a sticky situation. Like we said, that looked pretty energy zapping.
Yeah, I would be very impressed to see him come back and get that again. But let's hope that he does, because he doesn't have a squat on the board at the moment.
And we head into that third and final round. Heath Graham, 310 for his final squat, representing New Zealand.
moves pretty comfortably. Again, they're taking a more conservative approach after that missed opener. Just 1 red from the centre for Det.
And unfortunately, the jury has overruled that to a no lift for Graham. Lauritz Ennemark due from Denmark, 3:25. That's a big fight there for Lauritz. Just a yellow from the centre and side referee. Let's have a look at that in the replay. If it is a skipped command, it will be very hard for us to be able to see. Oh, it looks like his hands just come open.
Yes, the hand there. Oof.
On that right-hand side, but it seems like the jury haven't spotted that, so might just be safe with it. Oh no, sorry, it was 2-1. No,
2 reds, yeah.
So
It is a no lift.
jury happy with that being a no lift.
Obviously, it doesn't help him having his hand open, but it is a bit of a safety concern.
3:25 with Daniel Pola. This would be a 7.5 kilo personal best.
Unfortunately, just a bit too big of a jump there.
Jesper Voglius from Denmark, 350 kilos.
Pretty modest jump from his second.
Yeah, perhaps feeling like that 3:45 is getting close to his top end for the day. Looking to squeeze out 5 kilo personal best further here. Very well executed attempt, and 2-1, a good lift. Just getting a depth call from that far side referee. That's the side we see here in the replay. Seems like he just tucks in there to me.
No movement from the jury, so we think that one will stand.
Jono Vindik, 352.5, a 5 kilo personal best should he hit this. Did get 1 depth call from the left side referee on his second, but jury didn't touch it.
Honestly, pretty smooth for a third. Unfortunately, just not quite deep enough.
Yeah, picks up an extra red this time round. We'll see that again in the replay on the side that he gets the white from. And jury don't seem to move, and they sent the coach away, so I don't think that's going to be touched.
Evidently, you know, last time around it was right on the line, and this time around another referee agrees that it was just the wrong side of that line, basically.
Similar story here, Bo Sekanovsky from Israel. 347.5, got called for depth from 2 referees. He's gone up to 355 here.
After being asked to replace the bar and then having to walk it out with only seconds to spare.
Yeah, and that's going to have a big impact. You're rushing your setup and probably therefore your position not quite as you'd want it. More time this time round. And it looks a lot better to me. Still picks up a red from the far side referee. Have a look at that in the replay. Jury happy with it?
Yeah, I think it looks fine for depth. Obviously risky again, that going up on a second, but I think the gamble has paid off in his favour this time.
Abdul Majid Suleiman, Great Britain, 365. Jury overturned his second attempt to a no lift for depth. And now looking to go up 5 kilos. This would still be a personal best. Not quite as much I think he'd want on the third, but still a big final attempt. Strength not an issue, a little shaky on the way up, but 2-1, a good
Interesting.
It's a blue.
Can
from the
only
centre referee.
imagine a lockout issue.
Jury seem happy with it. He walks away with a small personal best and picks up those extra kilos. Now our final squat of the session, and an important one at that. Mohamed Sahad from Algeria, 375. He needs this to be able to post a total, and he really looked like he emptied the tank on that second with the 375. I'm glad to see they're retaking the same weight, but can he muster up the energy this time again to push through the squat? It's really quite hard to say. Let's hope so. He really needs this squat. The big grind comes back in a little quicker than his second, actually.
I'm very impressed that he squatted it again. Still picking up 1 red.
Yeah, he gets a blue from the left side referee, but 2-1 for now, a good lift if we rewatch the replay. And the jury lean in and are discussing it. But it looks like it will stand, and he is safe just at the last moment, leading the pack with 375. Below him, Suleiman with 365, and Sakanovsky just below him with 355. Subject to change as we have the A group later on today. We're going to head into a 10-minute break now before the bench press. See you there. Welcome back to the 2026 IPF World Powerlifting Championships here in Druskininkai, Lithuania. I'm Amelia Potter, rejoined by Evie Corrigan, and we head into the B and C group 120 flights for the bench press. First up, we'll have all 9 C group lifters, followed by the 8 B group lifters. And you can see quite an array of openers here, from 167.5 all the way up to 210. In the B group, we have Jonah Weinbeek opening with a mammoth 245. Kicking us off for Team Ireland, Joseph Penko, 167.5.
2 to 1, a good lift there. We have a yellow on the side, so it could be many things. Heels lifting up, bum coming off the bench, and there it is.
Yeah, unfortunately the bum was up most of that lift, but hopefully something he can fix up there. A little bit less leg tension perhaps.
The strength was there. Obviously he just couldn't feel that the bum had come off the bench, so hopefully he can correct it on the next one.
Rubini Karkusashvili, Georgia, 170 kilos. Two to 1, a good lift. I blew just for soft elbows there. I don't think, elbows not being completely locked out. We'll have a look there at the replay. Hard to tell from this angle, but jury will have the appropriate angle that they need. Thomas Thoma from Switzerland, 170 kilos.
Nice clean opener there for Thomas. Making it nice and easy for our referees. He also squatted really deep in the squat session.
Yeah, depth's not an issue for this man. Christian Cheshko for Hungary, 175. I'd say good lift.
Quite a distance to travel there, the bar with those long arms.
Representing Ireland, Mark Stow, opening with 180 kilos.
Quite a bit down from his posted PB here of 220.
And that is a good lift for you white lights. Perhaps that slightly higher personal best was when he was filling out the weight class a little bit more. Perhaps he's been dealing with an injury. Pretty hard to tell with the information that we have, but it's a good opening attempt. Helgi Sigurdsson, representing Iceland, 182.5 kilos.
And only 2.5 kilos off his personal best on the opener. He's quite young, only 24 years old. Progression is a bit faster at that age.
Moves well. Yeah, I think he just jumped that press command. He tried to meet it, I think, which is a dangerous game to play.
You can see him walking off. He knows exactly what he did. It's
And
so gutting to miss on a command like that.
yeah, well, it's so important to train at least near competition with those commands. Simon Raw, South Africa, 190 kilos.
Smooth looking opener there for Simon.
Ayuto Motoki, representing Japan, 197.5 kilos. Left the squats with the biggest squat of the C group, 350.
Something of a squat specialist, I would think.
And
But his bench is nothing to sneer at either.
no, absolutely not. Already near that 200 kilo mark here on his opening attempt.
That looks like he's saying to his coach, yep, go up, go up.
Maris Yusups from Latvia, 210 kilos for his opening attempt.
Three white lights, makes light work of that. Struggled a little bit in the squat event, missing 2 squats. So hopefully he can have a better time here with the bench.
Yeah, pick up some extra kilos, make up some ground. Squats it behind him. Still a long day ahead of him to hit some big lifts. And that concludes the opening round of bench press. Sigurdsson and Penko still without a bench on the board as we move through to that second round. Joseph Penko leads us out, retaking the same weight. Seems sensible to me. He didn't get his opener, got overruled by the jury because of butt lift.
Yeah, strength is there, just needs to keep the glutes on the bench.
Better from this angle, but hard to tell. Side referee doesn't give a yellow this time, but elbow
It's
depth.
a red.
Yeah, that'd be elbow depth, which he seems pretty perplexed by. Perhaps the first elbow depth goal he's ever had. And it looks good to me.
Yeah, I can't say I see where he's coming from there.
Jury are happy with it as we move through to Christian Chesko, 180. Penko on the board now.
Bit of work there for the second.
Yeah, a good lift, but he looks back at the bench like perhaps something went awry. I'd imagine a 2.5 kilo jump seems sensible to me here.
Perhaps, yeah, something of a misgroove. Maybe he touched it not quite in the right place on his chest. A conversation he'll be having with his coach about if he can correct that for the third attempt.
Thomas Thoma from Switzerland taking a 10 kilo jump to 180 for his second bench press. A little bit of work towards lockout, but pretty smooth otherwise.
He just hits the rack on the way up there, which definitely was not helping him.
No, he does get a yellow from the centre referee, and I'm wondering if that's what that was for. Usually, like you said, it's an infraction if the clipping the rack helps them get the bar up, or a blue then if it knocks the bar down. Jury seem happy with it as we move through to Ribini Karkusashvili for Georgia, taking a 12.5 kilo jump to 182.5.
Big jump here for a bench.
Yeah, and reflects it a little bit there with the speed.
He's getting that blue from the centre referee. I believe he got this on the first attempt as well for lockout, but the jury were happy with it.
Yeah, I think they found it a little more obvious this time, as it looks like they've overruled it to a no lift. Now Helgi Sigurdsson from Iceland just skipped the rack command here. Looks like he's gone for an in-between jump, slightly more than his opener. It's probably one of the easier mistakes to fix. Just needs to listen out for those commands to get a bench on the board.
Waits for the command this time. 3 white lights and a good lift. Helgi is on the board.
And that's one of the few infractions that I feel is slightly more comfortable with them taking a jump, but I think they did the smart thing with a little jump, not the planned jumps and making any risks.
Yeah, like you said, it's a middle ground. Still something that's light enough. If he did have to take it again on his third, he could, but
Mark Stell, 190 kilos, a 10 kilo jump here for the Irish lifter.
yeah, very smooth there. As you were saying before, Mark Stell's posted PB is 220, so this is quite under his best, and it is moving really well.
$197.5 kilos for Simon Raw, representing South Africa. This would already be a 2.5 kilo best if he is to make this. And we hope he is. You know, the second attempt shouldn't be, well, a third attempt. You know, there should still be room in the tank, so hopeful that this moves like a second attempt.
Hits a bit of a speed bump in the middle there. Not sure if it was execution issue. Still gets 2 whites for it though.
Yellow from the side referee, seeing if there's any sort of lift where that struggle came in here. Yeah, it looks like there was.
Yeah, the jury has caught that too, and the lift is overruled to a no lift.
And that is a shame, because that did look like a bit of top end strength, especially having to kick in so much leg drive. Ayuto Motoki for Japan, 207.5, 10 kilo jump. This would be a 2.5 kilo personal best should Motoki hit.
Beautiful second attempt there.
Yeah, having a really strong day so far. Very, very clean lifting. Maris Husips, representing Latvia, taking a 7.5 kilo jump to 217.5 for our final second attempt.
A little bit wobbly, but gets 3 whites for it. Doesn't have to look good to be good.
And that concludes the second round of bench for the C group. Yusups leading the pack ahead of Motoki and Stel. Subject to change as we have 2 more groups of 120s to see. Joseph Penko, it's his opening attempt. Got it on his second, now taking what I imagine to be either the planned jump to his second attempt or even slightly below that. This matches his personal best, 172.5.
Yeah, Ireland perhaps just playing a bit more of a defensive game here, trying to collect all the kilos that they can.
Seems like a good call to me.
Moves like a second attempt.
Where coaches and athletes get a little greedy sometimes is, okay, well, we're back on the board, let's jump to our planned third, and even if you have the strength on the day for it, that bigger jump can make a huge impact on the lifter.
And it's easy to say in hindsight, you know, oh, there was more there, but you don't always know. The lifter doesn't always know. It can be much smarter to just take a smaller jump and bank those kilos.
Kokushvili for Georgia. Jury overturned his second attempt, weren't happy with the position of his elbows on lockout, looking to retake the same weight here at 182.5. It looks better.
Made a more concerted effort there to lock them out. Still gets the 1 blue. Jury will re-watch it.
Yeah, we'll have a look at that from the center position. This left elbow that they're concerned with.
Rubeni is a masters lifter. He's 47. It can be a bit tricky as the years pass by to get those elbows locked out.
Is that from experience?
I'm looking at John.
Christian Cheshko, 185 kilos, 5 kilo jump free match personal best. Second was starting to look a bit sticky for Cheshko. Let's see what 5 extra kilos does to that.
And it's a good lift. I think he corrected the touch point a bit there. He came down a lot softer and was able to grind through that lockout. Certainly got every kilo there was.
Thomas Thoma, 185. Got a yellow from the centre referee last time round, but jury left it alone. So we just shy of the personal best.
Very good attempt selection there. 3 white lights and a good lift.
Simon Raw retaking 197.5. They've got called for butt lift there on his second attempt.
Yeah, hopefully he can correct his setup and keep the bum on the bench this time. He does press it out, but I see a bit of bobble in the hips. No, but it's 2-1, a good lift, just a red in the center for potentially lockout, potentially downward movement.
Yeah, I think it might have been that, maybe even that double bounce in his chest there. But jury are discussing it. And while we keep one eye on them, Helgi Sigurdsson comes out for 200 kilos. It looks like the lift will stand.
Helgi missing his opener on a command, going up a little bit and posting a second, and now taking a bigger jump to the third. Reclaim some of those lost kilos.
Big fight, but maybe that jumped just a little too much in the day.
Unfortunate. It's a 12.5 kilo jump, you know. Could have been 10, and that would be 10 extra kilos on his total, but that's the risk you take.
Mark Stell representing Ireland taking a 10 kilo jump to 200 on his final attempt.
Solid looking third there. As we said earlier, Mark weighing in very light in this class, only 107. He's a stone's throw away from the 105s. His PB is actually 220. Yeah, quite far down in body weight.
Ayuto Motoki from Japan, 215 on the bar to be a further 7.5 kilo personal best, and having an excellent day so far, currently 5 for 6. Let's see if he can make that 6 for 6 with his final attempt.
It looks like there's more in the tank. 3 white lights, good lift.
And our final lifter of the C group, Maris Yusups from Latvia, 222.5 kilos to get a match personal best in his final attempt. 5 kilo jump from his second.
Unfortunately, he just beat the command there and then couldn't push it through. And yeah, it would have been a no lift anyway.
And we head straight through now to the B group flight of 120s. Big array of openers there, all the way up until 245, like I said, as expected from Jonah Feinvik, a big bencher. Be interesting to see where he ends up, not just on bench, but overall today. 175 on the bar for Dew from Denmark.
It's a good lift for Dew. What we see is a lightest bench opener, but he has the tied heaviest deadlift opener. So tells you that, yeah, those long arms, tough for bench, but good for deadlifting.
Bo Sakanovsky, representing Israel, 195 kilos. Three white lights, a good lift. Daniel Pola, representing Switzerland, 200 kilos in the bar. Very comfortable looking opener for Pola.
Bit of a sink technique there. Some of these heavier lifters, it's a more popular approach. Sink the bar into the chest, sort of use that resistance to help you press it out.
Jesper Rogelus, representing Denmark, opening on 200 kilos, very close to his personal best of 207.5.
Speedy opener for Denmark.
Heath Graham, 202.5 kilos on the bar. Hoping to have a little bit of a smoother bench session than he did on the squats.
Nice opener there for Heath. Yeah, unfortunately missed his opening squat, came back, got it on his second, and then missed the third.
Abdul Majid Suleiman, Great Britain, opening on 205 kilos. We've seen him bench as much as 220 kilos. So it's been a little bit since he's done that. That was at the Arnold's in 2024. More recently, we've seen him hit 217.5. Last year was Worlds.
Looking nice and smooth there. Obviously, he's still got some room in this weight class, filling it out, and that certainly helps with the bench press.
Yeah, we've seen him open at 205 kilos a couple times before. Both times ended around the 217.5 mark. I had a little bit of trouble bench at British Nationals, missed 217.5 twice, so let's see where he ends today. Mohamed Sahad from Algeria, 212.5, just managed to get that final squat in on the board. Let's hope bench press a little less controversial for him. It's a little tricky for an opening attempt, but he gets on the board.
Yeah, the Algerian approach to attempt selection, a bit different from what we more typically see. Tend to open a bit heavier. His opening squat was the same, a bit more challenging than we're used to seeing.
Jonah Vindik, the personal best of 258, opening with 245 here. Huge bench presser. Let's see where he ends up today. It's a very strong looking attempt from Vindik. 3 white lights.
Huge bench press.
And that concludes the opening round of bench. Of course, Vindik leading with the 245, followed by Yusups and Matoki from the C group. Subject to change as we have the remainder of the Bs and the As later. Due 187.5. Looking here for a match personal best.
Drops the bar quite quickly into his chest there. Uses some momentum to press it out. So he's got one red from the side referee. Potentially calling upper body thrust.
Jury seem happy enough with it. 10 kilo jump here for Sekanovsky to 205. Matching his personal best. That is a good lift, 3 white lights. Oglis from Denmark, 207.5.
Very smooth second there.
And a very comfortable match personal best. Keith Graham representing New Zealand, 212.5 for a 5 kilo personal best. As you said before, fresh out of the juniors. Last saw him nationally, I believe, at Junior Worlds in Costa Rica.
Nice work there for Heath. Good second attempt.
Abdul Majid Suleiman taking a 10 kilo jump here to 215. 2.5 kilos off the top end we've seen from him in the last year or so.
He gets 2-1 white lights there. We've got a blue from the center, I believe, for lockout.
Yeah, we'll have a look at that again in the replay. He looks pretty locked out there to me.
The
Jury
jury don't seem to be considering it, so good lift for Mo.
Daniel Pola from Switzerland, 215. 10 kilo jump here. And that is a deadlift, 3 white lights.
Again, opts for the sink into the chest, but as he's not moving his chest to press up the bar, it doesn't count as an upper body thrust, which is that new wording of that rule that has come into play this year.
Mohamed Sahad for Algeria, 222.5. Already this would be a 2.5 kilo personal best should he hit. A little bit of movement on the chest there.
Interestingly, he gets 2 whites for it.
Get a blue from the centre referee, I imagine, for that. Have a look at the replay.
Yeah, there's a downward movement happening there, and the jury has overruled it. Potentially something that the side refs just couldn't see from where they're seated, because they're behind the lifter. So they can't see the bar on the chest, which is where that double movement happened.
Jonah Vindy closing out the second round to 52.5. 7.5 kilo jump. And certainly is a contender for the bench gold medal, even from the B group. And it's work, but he gets it, 3 white lights.
We do love to see a medal from the B group.
And we head through to the third and final round now of the bench press. Lawrence Enemark Due from Denmark, 192.5 for a 5 kilo personal best.
And a good lift for Lawrence. Good attempt selection from Denmark, collecting all those kilos.
Yeah, and did so without emptying the tank too much so that the fatigue is high heading into deadlift. Bo Sakanovsky representing Israel, 212.5. A new personal best.
Just a bit too heavy today, unfortunately. You know, they could have taken a smaller jump there, but perhaps it was just wanting to attempt that personal best.
212.5 kilos for Jesper Vogius from Denmark. 205 kilo personal best here.
Really good looking third attempt there. Looks like there was a little bit left in the tank, but he's happy.
Bars loaded for New Zealand's Heath Graham, 215, a 2.5 kilo jump for his final attempt. Great final bench.
Yeah, that was the right number. Collecting those kilos.
Abdulmajid Suleiman, 220 kilos, a match personal best. He's not done this on the platform for a couple of years now. See if he can get it today. This would put his projected total at 925 with his deadlift opener.
He's happy. Nice looking third attempt from Mo.
Yeah,
It's always nice to end on a high like that going into the deadlifts. Like, it's the kind of momentum that can make a big difference.
yeah, very rarely do you see a lifter thank the referees on their third bench, not their third deadlift, so you can see how happy he is with that. Daniel Pola, 222.5, 7.5 kilo jump for a new personal best.
Just runs out of that momentum there, about halfway up. Can't press it out.
That leaves us with two final bench presses of this B group. First of which, after not making his second attempt, got overruled by the jury. 222.5. He's gone up to 225. This 2 would give him a projected total of 925, matching Mo Suleiman. A slightly heavier body weight, of course, for the A group later, but because it's such a stacked 120s, you know, these are definite names worth considering for, at the very least, some team points. Big fight. Is that lockout position good enough?
He gets 3 white lights this time. So yeah, on his second attempt, there was some downward movement there on the chest, but seems like he's managed to work it out this time to press it out without bringing the bar down first.
Yeah. Jonah Vindic 255 for the final bench press attempt. 3 kilos below his best. Huge final bench press here, and certainly would put him in contention of that bench gold, even from the B group. Even with his second of 252.5, likely to do so. And I think he might have got everything he could have had a second attempt.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge ask to bench more than 250 twice.
Yeah, absolutely. And he still picks up that 252.5, which will likely be good enough for a bench press medal, while the A group come through later today. And we're going to head into a 10-minute break now before the deadlift. We will see you then. and welcome back to the 2026 IPF World Powerlifting Championships here in Druskininkai, Lithuania. We have the B and C groups of the 120 kilo class, and you can see here the projected totals as they stand. Suleiman and Sahad joint there with 925, Vindik behind 905, and these are some pretty big projected totals. I think they'll look to do what they can to rival those top 8 who will compete later on today. Before that, they will have the C group looking to complete their day with all 3 deadlift attempts. Ayuto Motoki for Japan, looking to open up here 250 kilos. Already this would be a 15 kilo total PB.
Motoki having a great day so far, 6 from 6. Speedy looking opener. We did see him take rather large jumps on the squat, so perhaps that is the plan here as well.
Yeah, and already with a 15 kilo total personal best, only up from here, looking for a big PB today. Thomas Thoma, Switzerland. 270 kilos.
Good opener for Thomas.
Mark Stell, 275 kilos for the Irish athlete.
Makes light work of that.
Rubini Karkushvili for Georgia, 280 kilos.
Opting for a beltless pull here.
Secures a total 3 white lights. Deadlift event usually moves a little bit quicker than a bench event. Much less to set up for most athletes. Raz Yusups, Latvia, 285.
Good opener. It's a smoother event from a refereeing perspective as well. Just the one command down. Less technical things to look for as a referee.
Simon Raw representing South Africa, 290 kilos on the bar. Cloud of smoke comes off from there. There's a lot of talc on the legs.
I heard a coach say that, you know, more is always more with talc. There's never any harm to have more talc. Not sure I agree, but
Well, it's all good until you get a little bit on your hands and tack becomes chalk and not quite the mix-up you want to have. Moves smoothly up his legs, and it's a good lift.
certainly makes some more work for our spot loaders.
Helgi Sigurdsson from Iceland, 300 kilos.
We tend to see a lot less sumo pulling as you progress through the weight classes. And even here, you can see it's quite a narrow sumo stance, what some might call a frog stance deadlift.
Christian Chesko representing Hungary, opening with 320 kilos. Our penultimate opening attempt in this C group. Smooth looking opening attempt. 3 white lights, a good lift.
Just as I was saying, there's less sumo. Christian comes out and proves me wrong.
Now our final opening attempt in this group, Joseph Penko from Ireland, 320 kilos. .28 kilos off his best deadlift and total.
Very speedy there. I like the little tongue out at the top.
Yeah, it's really interesting to me as somebody who grits their teeth when they lift. You know, it worries me a little bit biting down on that tongue, but seems relaxed enough not to need to.
That is a very valid point.
And that concludes our opening round with all 9 lifters securing their total. Immediately through to the second round, led out by Ayuto Motoki from Japan, 275.
Always a relief after that first round of deadlifts, once everyone is on the board.
Thomas Thoma from Switzerland, 290 kilos. 20 kilo jump here for Thomas.
The bar is loaded.
Twelve and a half kilos below his best here on his second. low towards lockout, but no sort of breakdown really.
Just one red on the side there for lockout. Perhaps just a little bit of knee unlock there. Don't think it's egregious enough for the jury to overrule though.
292.5 for Krokushvili from Georgia. Three white lights, a good lift. Maris Yusup's 295, a 10 kilo jump here for the Latvian lifter.
Bit more of a conservative jump than most of the ones in this round. That seems like the right call to make.
Representing Ireland, Mark Stell, 295, a 20 kilo jump. Makes pretty light work of that, 20 kilos off his best.
One red on the side there for lockout. Looks like we're not going to see a replay. But I don't think the jury is concerned about it.
Simon Raw representing South Africa, 305 kilos. That's a big grind there for Raw.
Looks like he maybe locked his knees a little bit too early and kind of stiff-legged the last part of the movement. Perhaps a bit concerned about getting caught on his thighs, but then you lose some of the power of the hinge to be able to lock out.
Helgi Sigurdsson taking a 15 kilo jump to 315 on his second attempt. Looking second for a 2.5 kilo total personal best for Sigurdsson.
Pacing really well there for a big final pull.
Christian Chesko from Hungary, 342.5, a 22.5 kilo jump here. Tough towards the end there, but manages to get it, 3 white lights, and I think similar to his other lifts, a little tough on the second and just trying to edge that up where he can on the third. final second attempt before we head through to the third and final round. Prior to the B group, Joseph Penco from Ireland, 345, 25 kilo jump. Three white lights, a good lift. Very smooth second attempt.
Checking the integrity of his thumbs there, as he's a hook grip puller. Thumb is pressed into the bar. Doesn't want to tear that thumb skin before his third attempt at least. Make sure that the grip stays really strong.
Yeah, because once that grip goes, there's really nothing you can do to get that back.
Yeah, particularly if you always train with hook grip. Trying to switch last minute is not ideal.
The bar is loaded.
Into the third and final round, Motoki from Japan, 285, a 10 kilo personal best on deadlift and total should he make this.
Smooth final pull for Japan.
And he's had a great day.
Pretty long journey from Japan as well. So to come onto the world stage, go 9 for 9, hit some PBs, is a great achievement.
Marat Yusups from Latvia, 300 kilos. 5 kilo jump here, looking for that 300 kilo milestone.
Oh, just a little bit before the down command there. Also getting some reds for lockout, potentially like losing his grip there maybe.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looks like his grip was just starting to go, and like we said just moments ago, once that begins to drop, there's nothing you can do. Rubini, 300 kilos, also looking to finish on that 300 kilo mark here.
Clean final pull there for Hungary. Sorry, Georgia.
The bar is loaded. Let's go.
Thomas Thoma, Switzerland, 300 kilos, 10 kilo jump. Does really well to stick with it, but just cannot get that much past the knees.
A good fight nonetheless. Sometimes it's the final deadlift where you really want to leave it all out there.
Yeah, if not there, then where? Bars loaded for Simon Raw, representing South Africa. Taking a conservative 5 kilo jump here to 310 for his final pull.
Big fight. 2-1, a good lift.
So blue from that left side referee. The legs are shaking, the engine is on, but I don't think that helped him much.
No, I wouldn't call this supporting on the thighs. I think that that slow lockout is him working really hard not to support the bar on his thighs.
The bar is
317.5 kilos loaded for Mark Stowe. A big jump here, 22.5 kilos in an attempt of a 2.5 kilo personal best on deadlift. And it seemed like the right call on the day for a personal best.
Yeah, great to see him hit that PB. Obviously at a very light body weight today. A bit under his total PB. But walks away with the win in this one.
It's quite the wingspan on him that he has.
The bar is loaded.
Helgi Sigurdsson for Iceland, 325 for his final attempt. This will be a 5 kilo personal best on deadlift and 10 on his total for the 24-year-old lifter.
Also had a really solid day so far. Just a bit much today, unfortunately.
Yeah, he'll be coming back with that and more, I'm sure. At the young age of 24, plenty of years to grow.
The bar is loaded.
Joseph Penko, 355, our penultimate deadlift in the C group before heading through to the B group lifters.
Two to one, a good lift. Perhaps a blue there for downward movement. Tiny little bobble at the top.
The bar is loaded.
Christian Cheshko, 360 kilos, a 17.5 kilo jump for his final pull. It would be an extremely impressive pull. It would be a personal best, especially as his second wasn't the quickest in the world, and he's a sumo puller.
Gives it a crack, but not today.
And that concludes the C group lifters. We move now immediately to the B group flight with some heavy hitters. We can see two deadlift openers at 340. Polar, Switzerland, 280 on the bar.
Tidy opener for Polar.
Jesper Vogilis for Denmark, 300 kilos. Already this would be a match personal best on total.
Smooth opening attempt.
The bar is loaded.
Heath Graham representing New Zealand, opening with 305 kilos.
Steady looking opener for Heath.
The bar is loaded.
$310 kilos with Jonah Vindy. Did already secure him a 905 total.
Good opener for Jonah.
The bar is loaded.
Bo Sekanovsky representing Israel, opening with 320 kilos. And that is a good lift, 3 white lights.
The bar is loaded.
Mohamed Sahad, Algeria, 325 on the bar, looking to secure his total. This would give him 925 with his opening attempt. Like you said before, so far we've seen him open close to that top end and push it up slowly.
I would say that's probably the most comfortable opener we've seen from him. Perhaps a slightly different approach for deadlifts given how fatiguing they are. Plan might be to take bigger jumps here.
The bar is loaded.
Of Abdul Majid Suleiman coming out for 340 kilos. Best deadlift that we have, 367.5. But we've seen him hit as much as 382.5. Again, it's been a minute since we've seen him do it. 2-1, a good lift.
Yeah, smooth lift. Just the one red there from the center, a blue light. A blue light would usually indicate downward movement or supporting the bar on the thighs,
Yeah,
which I'm not seeing here in the replay.
I'd be very surprised to see the jury get involved with that. As we move through to our final opening attempt, 340 stays on the bar for Laurits Enemark Due from Denmark.
Equal heaviest opener with Mo. Wow. I expect to see a big jump there.
Very comfortable opener for the young lifter. Interested to see where he ends up in the deadlift rankings, of course, with some monster pullers in the A flight to come later. Polar for Switzerland, 300 kilos. Three white lights, a good lift.
The bar is loaded.
Jesper Vogius in Denmark, 307.5. Pretty small jump here for a 120. 12.5 off his best deadlift. Would be a 7.5 kilo total personal best. So maybe looking to secure that on his second. Yeah, and it moves really well, as you'd expect a 7.5 kilo jump to do so.
It moves, you know, pretty much the same as his opener did. And given that proportionally they're quite close in weight, that makes sense. Perhaps he struggles with grip, and while the weight is moving fast, that's where he might lose it.
Heath Graham, representing New Zealand, 322.5.
Good steady work for Heath.
A 20 kilo jump here for Jonah Weindijk from Germany, 330 on the bar for a second attempt. Just 2.5 kilos below his best deadlift. And 5 kilos below his best deadlift. Just looking at open powerlifting there, slightly updated.
Still a little bit of room left in the tank.
Yeah, missing that bench would have hurt him a little bit, but still, that puts him on 925 heading into the final round of deadlifts. Bo Sekanovsky, representing Israel, 337.5. One in good lift. Just get a red from the centre referee for insufficient lockout. Mohamed Sahad taking a 15 kilo jump to 340 on his second attempt. Just on grip at the top there.
I recall that this actually might have been an issue for him in the past, the grip.
Yeah, I mean, the weight's not an issue. You can see right at his knees, his hands have already started to open. And that's really tough when you can feel them opening from that low down. 365 for Lauritz Enemark Ju from Denmark. 25 kilo jump.
Bar is loaded.
Nice work. Again, getting a red from the centre referee for lockout.
Yeah, let's have a look at that again in the replay. Bit of a better angle of lockout here, slightly from the side. I think he should be fine with that. We have Mo coming out now for 370 kilos, a 30 kilo jump. We've seen him hit as heavy as 382.5.
Opting to pull beltless. I think that might be just a little bit shy on the lockout, unfortunately.
I was a little bit concerned about that. I think he's only just
He's only
realised
just
that
realised he
he's not
doesn't
had
have
a
his
belt.
belt.
Yeah, that's surprising it took him so long to realise he didn't have his belt on. And that's going to be a costly mistake as we head through to that third and final round, particularly as he's wanting to chase those top 8 totals. Dew leading the deadlifts there. As you can see, currently Suleiman, Sahad and Veindeek sat at the same total of 925 heading into the third and final round. Pola, 307.5 for his final lift of the day.
Really good fight there on that final lift. Keeps it nice and tidy.
The bar is loaded.
Bogius for Denmark, looking to take 7.5 kilo jump, another equal jump here from a second to third to match his total personal best of 875.
Still moving fast there, but I think you can see that it's the grip that is challenging him.
Yeah, and it's a smart decision to take a slightly lighter deadlift because arguably grip issues are still a strength issue of some sort. Representing New Zealand, Heath Graham for his final pull of the day, a 10 kilo jump to 332.5.
Bar is loaded.
Bar is loaded and here he comes.
Solid final pull for Heath. Bit of a rocky start to his day with the squats, but Ending on a high.
The bar is loaded.
Jonah Vidig, 332.5, just a 2.5 kilo jump here. Matches best deadlift. Give him a total 927.5.
Every kilo counts.
It's a good final pull. Let's see what the referees think.
White lights, good lifts.
Four deadlifts remaining, first of which Mohammed Sahad from Algeria looks to retake 340 after just losing grip at the top there.
It's very difficult to correct a grip issue in the middle of a competition. You know, maybe he's put more chalk on. Sometimes a combination of liquid and powder chalk can help. But unfortunately, not today. He could feel it coming out. Put it back down on the ground. A shame, as the strength is clearly there.
The bar is loaded. Let's go.
345 kilos loaded on the bar for Bo Sekhanovsky representing Israel.
Let's see what the refs think. Unfortunately, 2 reds from the side there for lockout.
Maurice Enemark due our penultimate deadlift attempt for the 24-year-old Danish lifter, 367.5. 2.5 kilo jump from his second. Again, a small increment here, looking to further push that deadlift and total PB up a little bit.
Surprising, as I thought the second was quite good.
Perhaps he doesn't have too much of a grind in him. We'll have to see how this moves and see the thought process behind the decision. That'll probably be why. Just
Perhaps
struggling
also a
lockout.
grip issue there.
Perhaps, yeah.
Drops the bar. Bright future for the young Danish lifter, though. He's only just out of the juniors.
Yeah, if he continues at that rate of progression, he'll be putting up some pretty sizable numbers, even more so very soon. And our final deadlift of this flight, looking to end on a 960 total. Didn't get that second attempt, forgot his belt, has it this time round. Mo Suleiman from Great Britain, 375, got called for lockout on his second. This is a number he's hit before. His biggest total we've seen is 945, so this would be a total personal best as well.
Just don't think it's locked out. Unfortunately, no.
Yeah, unfortunately leaves him with a total of 9.
I think he knew it as well. He understands. A shame, you know, he's so much potential, but yeah, those are the standards.
And a quick peek at where that's landed everybody now. Subject to changes of the A group coming through later with some heavy hitters and big pullers. Have a quick peek at those totals. Finding lead in the B group 927.5. Suleiman and Sahad joint on total, separated by body weight on 925, but of course subject to be dropped down as the A group are later on this evening. So do join us for that at 6 p.m. local time. Up next we'll have the 84B group in just an hour's time. We'll see you there.